What's up, everybody? Welcome to S.W.A.T MMA. We're smoking weed and talking mixed martial arts. My name is Jarrod. I am here with Paul.
What up?
We are coming to you from the fight capital of the world, Las Vegas, Nevada. On today's episode, which is episode number 71, we're going to be discussing the results of Bellator 243, UFC Vegas 5. We're going to take a look ahead to UFC 52, which we are excited about here as it sees the two baddest men on the planet right now fight for the heavyweight championship of the world. Before we dive into all those great topics, Paul, let's get started with our weed of the week.
Smoke weed every day.
All right, we got a couple fun things. What did you just
we
hit
got
here?
some
With
weed, we got some shatter, we got all kinds of shit today.
We do. Two kinds of herb.
So we got the Gorilla Glue number 4 up in the bottle bubbler there.
Yes, indeed. Also known as original glue and plain glue.
Yeah.
This is one of my favorite strains.
Yeah, it's
dude.
fucking
Big, thick,
flame.
fluffy buds.
Flame.
Heavy resin. It's a three-way cross, sativa dominant. It's chocolate diesel, sour dove, and chem sister, which I want to dive into just for a minute because that is some really good genetics. Like chocolate diesel. Have you had just plain chocolate diesel before?
I have not.
There's a company here in Vegas. I don't know if they're still around. They were called House of Herbs. And one of their house strains was the only place in town I was aware of that was growing chocolate diesel. And that's a primo. If you like me, like I've mentioned before, I love the diesel strains. But that's a cross of chocolate Thai and straight sour diesel. And then the sour dub is a cross of East Coast sour diesel and sour bubble. And then Chem Sister is a phenotype of Chem Dog. Okay. So for me, Gorilla Glue is just like a hit all the way around because I like all that chemical shit. I like the diesels, favorite strains. I like the Chem Dog. So I'm very happy. And dude, how sticky are these buds, man? They look like they're just dipped in some frosty sugar.
Yeah.
Gorgeous stuff, man.
Yeah.
We still got some Fire OG as well. I've been smoking on that for a minute, but that's good herb.
Oh, yeah.
And we got some shatter in that. PAX is Banana Angie, which is a cross of
Banana and Tangy.
not a lot of guesswork involved
Yeah.
in that one. Banana Kush crossed with the Tangy strains, so it is a nice fruity flavor. A lot of terps in that shatter. Tastes good in that PAX 3. Whew. All right, I'm gonna hit this Gorilla Glue right here. Actually, no, they had to change the name. Of course, it's not Gorilla Glue anymore. That's hence the original glue or GG number 4.
Yeah.
All the same strain.
I feel like another one of the companies that could have just took advantage of marijuana being legal and came out with their own version of Gorilla Glue.
I don't know. Do they really think people are gonna
Smoke their glue.
what their sales are gonna go down because there's
Smoke
weed
their
called
glue.
Gorilla Glue?
They're like, well, what the fuck, bro? That shouldn't even get me high. It's glue,
Anything,
dog.
Right? Do they not know why the bud was named Gorilla Glue?
Yeah.
It's super sticky,
Yeah,
man.
it's sticky as fuck.
It's sticky as
pretty
hell.
dense, too.
Yeah. Yeah, it's very dense, very sticky, very crystally.
Oh, yeah.
How's that? That's tasty right there.
Could taste the banana and the Angie in there.
The Banana Angie? Oh, man. All right. Well, whatever you're smoking on out there, folks, I hope it is something as delicious as we are. Let's get it fired up, and let's dive into some fights, man. What do you want to start with today, Paul? I'm thinking we should, since there's only really one or two fights to discuss on it, and we've been so heavy in the UFC lately, let's just dip our toes into Bellator for a minute.
Absolutely.
We had the Bellator 243 card that just went down that was headlined by a rematch of Michael Chandler and Benson Henderson, the former UFC lightweight champ.
You got Chandler, who was coming off the loss of Pitbull, lost his belt.
Right.
Never can feel good. And then on the other side, though, Benson Henderson was on a sneaky 4-fight win streak.
I was so shocked to hear that. Okay, yeah, that is pretty flavorful, this here Banana Angie.
Yeah. There's a lot of Angie in there, huh?
There is. I had, for some reason, thought he was on a losing streak.
No, he just, Bellator is not the greatest promoted
Well,
show in
no.
the world.
They're
So,
not.
They got money
They
like
try.
the UFC though. They try, yeah. I'll give them that. Give them that.
Did you want to hit this again? Or you want to turn it
Oh
off?
yeah, for sure.
All right, I'll turn it back on. Well, to sum it up real quick, it was over fast. Nobody's handled Benson Henderson.
What's crazy
like
too,
that.
Ben Henderson hadn't been finished in 6 years.
Yeah, knocked out
Gets
his
KO.
first round, right? KO first round. He hit him this weird shot on the top of his head. Like he hit him, and Benson kind of
he
doubled
dropped him.
over and started to drop, and he
he's
tagged him right in, like the middle of his dome on the way down, and then he just face planted into the
Slapped his
canvas,
shit.
and that was it.
Michael
Face
Chandler's
down,
a dangerous
ass up.
man, dude.
He is a dangerous man, and that was the last fight on his Bellator contract as well.
You good on this?
I'm good on that for now, yeah. So, it's very interesting to see what happens with him next if he decides to re-sign with Bellator or go ahead and make the jump to UFC, or there's even the remote possibility he might decide to go with someone like One where he can rematch Eddie Alvarez.
Yeah.
But I think that's a pretty long shot there,
I think the UFC is where it goes.
most likely, and I'm excited about
Very
that.
excited, very excited. I wonder if they have a window like Bellator, or I'm sorry. I wonder if Bellator has the negotiating window like the UFC does.
Right.
Because like if that's the case, Michael Chandler's not fighting again this year.
No.
But if not,
But it's like a 90-day window.
yeah, well,
then,
yeah, 90 days. And,
In most cases, we don't know. But
and then they also have to give him 90 days to match once you get
that
offered.
would suck. Let's hope that doesn't happen.
Yeah.
We also had another exciting fight on there if you're into prospects. Valerie Loretta made her return after more than a year. Very exciting young prospect. I mean, she's only 2-0, I believe, now in MMA. But a very impressive KO win.
First team all dime piece, too.
Yes, absolutely.
She's fucking. Let's just talk about what we were talking about a little bit earlier.
Well, she got some shade from a UFC fighter, which is interesting because she's not in the UFC.
Yeah.
And not in the same weight class, but
Not
Macy
even close.
Chasen threw a lot of shade at Valerie because Valerie's Instagram and a TikTok video she did where she was dancing and doing some punching while wearing MMA gear, and apparently this was a terrible thing for Macy to see. That somehow this denigrates women.
Doesn't make any sense. So
No.
I'd understand if she was not talented and didn't have the qualifications from either another sport or another
And it was purely
discipline.
being taken advantage of because of her
Because-
Instagram following, because of
Yeah.
shows a little TNA.
But that's not
No.
the case.
No,
She's an Olympic Taekwondo athlete who has ridiculous striking, has 2 freaking first-round knockouts in her 2 first fights in Bellator. Like she's kind of on the same level as like someone like Dylan Dennis or like a lot of or
except in
Aaron
Taekwondo.
Pico
Yeah.
or like a lot of the Bellator Ed Ruth Bellator athletes that were stars in other disciplines that have been brought in almost on like developmental deals through
Absolutely.
Bellator, and you're just mad because she gets love from one being a badass and also being good looking.
Yeah,
Like, I just
Valerie
don't
came back and said,
understand.
"Look, and this is her words, not mine. She says, I'm a girly girl. I like to look pretty and wear nice stuff and take photos.
Yeah, why
That's-
is that an issue though?
Well,
Like,
that's not
Paige
for
Van
men.
Zandt's the same
'Cause
way.
Macy's like,
There's
well,
a
you're
lot of
doing it
people
for
like that.
men, which, again, what are men and women not things? Do they
Yeah.
not? But hey, that's not the point. But Valerie's like, I'm being me,
Yeah,
and Macy's throwing shade at her, and I just think it was some
it's
ridiculous
just
hater.
bullshit.
I mean, you go look at their Instagram pages, for instance. I mean, Macy won tough at 135 pounds, and she jumped. Or no, at 145.
Yeah.
And she dropped down to 135,
135.
which sucked as a fan seeing because the point of that tough season was to
Was
build
to
the
build,
145 pound division, which is a barren wasteland.
Yeah,
So she drops back down.
and you wonder why you're not like.
She's
Here's the
got
thing. It's just
13,000
hate, man. It's just hate. It's like here's the thing. Like she's just mad. I mean, it's just
Macy has 13,000 Instagram
not
followers
to be
after
an
winning
asshole.
a season of a television show and being the champion. Valerie Loretta is 2-0 in MMA and has 318,000 followers.
yeah.
Now, that's not because she's
a
pretty.
badass and
because she's a
good-looking.
known badass before coming in. She's, I believe, what's called a master in Taekwondo, which is like the highest level you can get.
Yeah.
She's been
She's
training
a-
since she's 3. Her whole
Yeah.
family's like badasses.
Yeah.
Like, so what if she's pretty? Like, she can't be a girl?
She's pretty hot.
It's
dude.
absurd. She is hot. And good, more power to her.
Yeah.
I mean, she just beat the hell out of that girl in the fucking
Well, that girl
Bellator.
was also did that
Dude.
same thing to her. That girl that she beat up also went in and started talking shit, saying the same thing, that she's not a real fighter, that she didn't deserve to be there, all this shit.
That's
And
crazy.
like, you guys will just you girls will just keep getting your ass beat and figure out that it's just like, she's a badass, but she just also happens to be good looking. You know what I mean?
Does that illustrate the fact that
She's hot.
if a
It
woman
just is
can
what it
choose
is.
to be the way the Valerie chooses to be
Yeah.
a quote unquote girly girl and then
What's
still
wrong
get
with
in a
that?
cage and then beat people up, isn't that
Yeah.
awesome? I think
Yeah,
that's
I think
dope.
that's pretty
dude.
cool.
You-
Yeah.
you do you, and Macy, you should do you too, but you shouldn't fucking
Well,
hate on somebody, man.
Yeah, it's just hate is what it
It's
is. 'Cause,
ridiculous
like, there's
hate.
other girls that are very similar in like style, like promote themselves that same way, like Paige Van Zandt, Rachel Ostovich, Mackenzie Dern, Ashley Yoder, fucking
Right.
even Rose Namajunas, who all are in the UFC as well, and all have a lot of followers because one, they're badass fighters, and two, they're hot chicks.
And there's
it is
nothing
what it
wrong with
is.
that. Yeah.
Like, what's wrong with that? Like, Instagram is built for that. Like, you're mad because she makes money off Instagram because people think she's hot. Fucking get a life, dude. Like, legit. Like, sorry. Like, what do you want her to do about that?
Right.
Like, you want her to just like, oh, sorry, I'll stop posting videos and pictures of me in a bikini and getting paid shit tons of money by Instagram because you think I promote myself wrong. Like, shut the fuck up.
Seriously.
It's just money. At the end of the day, she's promoting herself. You want to make money in life? Sorry, you don't want her to make money anymore. You want her to just because she's hot.
We're
she's
talking
like,
about social
oh,
media.
I'm a
This is
fighter
how it
now. I
works.
can't be hot anymore. Sorry, dude. Like, she's hot and she's a fighter, and she's gonna make more money, and a lot more people are gonna watch her because she's hot and she's a fighter. Sorry.
You
It
work
is
with
what
what
it is.
you've got. Right?
Like what?
Like
what the
Connor's
fuck?
got the big mouth, right? He's got
Yeah.
a gift of gab. And
Dude,
so
same thing. It's like
he works with it to promote his shit, right?
Yeah.
You got guys like Luke Rockhold.
That's what I'm saying. That's what
He's
I was
a
just gonna
fucking
say.
model.
Luke Rockhold's a
Like,
model.
He's
There's
a
tons of
good-looking
chicks
dude.
that are all
They
over
say
his Instagram.
whatever. He's a good-looking guy. He's not fucking. Doesn't look like a fighter.
Yeah.
You know, you see him as a model, and you're like, oh, okay, he's a model.
Paulo
Oh,
Costa. Same
right.
thing.
Same thing, right? So it's what.
Are they just supposed to like not post pictures with their shirt
Right.
off because you guys are
And
upset?
you got some Michael Chiesa troll mullet-looking
Yeah,
motherfuckers
dude.
out there too.
Yeah.
And, I don't
That's
hear
not
them
fair.
crying.
He shouldn't promote himself that way.
Paulo
Like,
Costa looks like a superhero. I look like a scrub. That's not fair.
Yeah. It's fucking what you
Like,
got.
stop,
You gotta
man.
work with what you got.
Macy should just
You're
find
just
out
a
what she's
hater.
got
Like,
and work
yeah.
on that if
Yeah.
it's bothering you.
Facts.
And by work on that, I mean promote it and whatever it
Yeah.
is that you got.
If you're a fucking badass, then go be a badass, but don't
real.
hate on other people.
There's so
Like,
much of
that's
that,
just-
and we bring this up because this had traction. This isn't just
Yeah.
like a typical
This was on-
Instagram.
yeah, it was in
this
the
is on the fucking New York Post.
New York Post, yeah.
Like the Sun UK. Like
Yeah.
for whatever reason, this story
picked up,
got
yeah.
picked up and ran with.
Yeah.
It's
And-
absurd.
I'll give her this. Valerie gave it back at her though.
She did. She gave it right back out, and then she went out on a national stage in
And
the
knocked
return
that
of her
chick
career
out.
and
Yeah.
won in a very convincing fashion.
Yeah.
Like,
And then jumped on the post-fight interview and was like, "Yeah, this is exactly what I've been telling everyone. Like,
yep.
I'm hot, but I'm
Look
also
out.
a badass.
I
Fuck
like
you."
it. You do
Like,
you.
Yeah, do you?
And I'm sorry. And I just
Rachel
want to point
Ostovich
out.
does the same thing. Paige does the same thing. All those shit. What's her name from BKFC? She does the same
Yeah,
thing.
Beck, yeah.
Like, what are you so upset about? Because people can get modeling gigs and other things that push their career forward outside of fighting with using Instagram as well. That just doesn't make any sense.
Well, Macy's certainly in the whole rant was, throwing around the
Sex
being
sells
fodder
thing,
for
basically.
misogynistic men too.
Okay, there's-
And I'm sorry, not just because you're on Instagram and you appreciate the fact that a hot girl is posting. Like Valerie's hot. You want to post bikini pictures? Cool. That doesn't make us misogynistic.
No.
There's a natural
Sex
attraction
sells.
between
Sorry,
people.
that is what it is.
And what are we going to act? If you think that's all a person is, and that we all know what the definition of misogynistic is, and appreciating a female body is not it. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's
So,
not. Yeah. Well, and here's the
I mean,
thing, though.
good grief.
Here's the thing: is like in the same breath, there's tons of male athletes in every single sport that pose in tons of different modeling gigs all over the place.
Seriously, then
Do you
there's
ever hear other
catalogs
dudes?
of those dudes all
Yeah.
flexing.
Yeah, like fucking David Beckham is in like on
Right.
like all kinds of shit. You don't ever see dudes going around like, man, this is bullshit. He shouldn't be allowed to do this, man. This is not fair.
Right.
Like,
for
what?
every Paulo Costa, you got guys like Daniel Cormier.
Yeah,
It
well,
looks
yeah.
like he's some fat dude's dad that just got off the fucking couch.
Yeah.
He ain't crying about it.
Roy Nelson isn't mad at fucking Luke Rockhold right now.
For real.
Like, dude, what are we talking about here? Like, it's just hate. Like, why does blatant hate just get all this like media attention? Like, oh my God, she's right. No, she's wrong.
And it's
She's a
hate
hate-mad
guised
bitch.
inside of women's empowerment. Like
Yeah.
somehow.
There's a difference between empowering someone and just being an asshole.
Yeah, and saying
you
they're hurting the cause
Yeah,
somehow.
no.
Just stop, man.
Everybody
should just do you.
Yeah, do you.
And if you don't like somebody's you, then you don't have to like tune into it. If
Yeah.
she don't like me, if
'Cause you
she
just
don't
sound
like
like a
Valerie's
hater.
Instagram page, then
Yeah.
you know what? You don't even have to look at it.
Yeah.
Like,
Because
it's
you
cool.
just sound like a hater in the end.
Right.
Is really what it comes down
It's
to.
not like somebody's forcing it down your throat. Like every morning, they're like, "Look."
Yeah. She just sounds like a hater.
Well, good job, Valerie, to sum that shit up. I hope this young fighter continues this streak.
We also
And
had a
I'm-
couple
I'm-
UFC
I'm
vets
excited
on that
about
card
that.
as well.
We did.
We
yeah.
had Timothy Johnson knock
Matt
out
Mitrione.
Matt Mitrione, which I did not see coming.
I did not see that coming either.
I thought Matt Mitrione was going to work him.
Me too.
Gets a KO. That's big for him, though,
Surprising.
because in the Bellator heavyweight division, a couple wins, because Ryan Bader has, with that tournament, pretty much beat every contender. A
Right.
win over a guy like Matt Mitrione puts Timothy Johnson right in the title picture with, like,
It
Chet
does.
Congo, a lot of the guys over there. I could see him fighting Chet Congo next, because
Yeah, Chet Congo's pretty much the gatekeeper
Yeah.
of the Bellator heavyweight division
Yeah.
at this point.
unless they run with Bader Congo again before, but I could see him and Congo fighting for
Right.
sure.
You know, rounding out the Bellator stuff, there was some news of another UFC fighter just strangely signed with Bellator, being a top 10 UFC light heavyweight, top 5 to be more exact, before his latest loss to Jan Blachowicz. Boy, that's a tongue twister for
He
me
was
right
number
now.
one.
To the Polish Jan, he was number 1.
Yeah.
We're talking about Corey Anderson, just suddenly released from his UFC contract.
Well, he asked for his release,
Yeah, asked
It
for
was
it and
granted.
granted,
which
is
is
very
crazy.
unusual.
Unusual as fuck.
Like, for a top 5.
They must just have been not agreeing on a number or something. Like, and it must have just been like completely out of the
Well,
ballpark.
Bellator snapped him up real quick. UFC wasn't worried about matching nothing, so that's it. Or maybe when they let you go
Well,
like
if
that,
they
you can
release
just go.
you, they don't.
You don't
get
you're
those.
not bound by the contract's stipulations anymore, obviously. Then, so yeah. Well, good for Bellator, good for Corey, because he can probably get paid a lot
Well, if you look
more
at
and
that
slide
division,
right into
too-
the upper echelon there as well.
If you look at that division too, it's like those are all pretty winnable fights for Corey. Like, I think him and Ryan Bader is a really good
That's a
matchup
strong fight.
because everything Ryan Bader does, Corey Anderson can do on the same level. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I wonder how that goes. Because you look at a guy like Ryan Bader, who was an NCAA All-American. Well, guess who else is an NCAA All-American? Your boy.
There's going to be a
fucking-
size difference there now, though.
I don't
'cause
think so.
Bader's been heavyweight for a while.
Yeah, but you also look at a guy who, in freaking Corey Anderson, who came down from heavyweight.
Did he?
Yeah.
I forgot about that.
He used to
then.
fight. He wrestled at heavyweight when he was in college. It's 285.
I see. Well. See what happens over there.
Yeah. So, I don't know, man. It could be. I think it could be Ryan Bader's worst nightmare that Corey Anderson just signed with Bellator.
Think he'll get the immediate shot at Bader, or they'll
Absolutely.
give him some.
Unless he fights someone like Phil Davis or like.
So Bader's defending one of his titles here.
Yeah, at light heavyweight already.
Yeah. Did you think they'd want him to defend the heavyweight before he took another one at light? But
I don't know. What if? So the big story that's been coming out of this next fight that's coming up for Bader is how he hasn't cut to 205
205 in a minute.
since 2017.
Yeah.
And that's fucking 3 years now, going on 4.
That's
And
crazy.
the question becomes, what does he look like back at light heavyweight?
Mm-hmm.
So you get that, but then you throw Corey Anderson there, who's been fighting his best, who's looked his best he has in his entire career over his last, I'd say, 4 or 5 fights. And you plug him into a division that's kind of been beat down by Ryan Bader. You know, the reason he is the heavyweight champion is because he came into Bellator and cleared house. You know, he
Exactly.
beat
Yeah.
everybody in extremely like
And they've let him defend both, and it's been so long.
like
'cause
he's
there's been
beat a
nobody
lot of
there.
those guys
Yeah.
twice now too.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's like now you plug Corey Anderson in there. What can he do? Is the real question. You know, can he go in there and realistically dethrone the pound for pound #1 in Bellator? Pretty much.
Yeah, that's him. Yeah. I doubt it, but I'd say he has a good chance. But ultimately, I would definitely bet Bader if I was betting on that fight. But
Think so?
at this point,
So
yeah,
where do you-
Bader's really proven himself over in Bellator. I mean, without a doubt.
Where do you put Bader, pound for pound, across all companies at light heavyweight?
Pound for pound at light heavyweight, I put him right behind John Jones.
See, I think Dominic Reyes would beat Bader. I put Dominic Reyes above Bader.
I think that's a possibility, but you have to look at the body of work and Bader's body of work because you have to include his heavyweight resume in this as well. Like he's beaten a who's who
Yeah,
here. I mean,
I agree, but I just feel like if Bader was in the UFC right now or stayed in the UFC, I don't know if he'd still be fighting.
well, the UFC is a different story because no matter how good he gets, he ain't beating John Jones.
Yeah.
So he'd still be just regulated to gatekeeper status over there, basically.
Well, do you think he would have moved to
Which
heavyweight?
wouldn't bring the best
Well,
out of him.
here's the thing. He dipped out of the UFC. When he dipped out of the UFC, there was like every option was open for him, and he just like, see ya. Like, remember him and fucking DC were like at each other's throat.
Yeah, they were.
Like,
He was showing up
fucking
at DC's
months
press
before
conference and
he
shit.
fucking gets
Yeah.
signed to Bellator. It's like he left so many fights on the table. Like, I don't really know how good he is. I'm sorry. Like, I know he's really, 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 really good. Like, no doubt he is in that top 5, like, pound for pound, whether it be UFC or Bellator. But I just don't know where he fits in because he's had fights like the Anthony Johnson fight where he just went in and just got fucking laid out.
Right.
And the John fight where John just dominated him. And that was John early too. That wasn't even like champion. That wasn't even a championship fight. Wasn't that just a regular main event?
Yeah, it was a long time ago.
Yeah.
I still think
So,
Jones beats him.
I think John would
you want
just
this?
beat the shit out of him.
I'll turn
Yeah.
it off.
Here's my problem with Bader is like he uses his wrestling so much in Bellator that he didn't use in the UFC that I just don't know where he's at.
It'd be nice if one day we could get a cross promotion fight and find that out because I don't think he's ever coming back to the UFC, but we
Or
won't.
dips out of Bellator.
So he
Could happen.
might, maybe.
He's old
Well-
though. He's what, 36 now?
Yeah, I
35?
think he's finishing up there. I mean, it's hard to do better than he's done there. He's not going to go to the UFC and be a double champ.
Well, he was on.
I mean,
What was he on the Ultimate Fighter? Like 6 or something like that, 5 or 6.
yeah. It was the same season as Shab and them, wasn't it?
No.
The first heavyweight
No,
season?
no, he was on the same season as Matt Hamill.
Oh, okay. So, yeah.
Oh wait, was it Matt Hamill? Fuck, I
Well,
don't.
no, Matt Hamill wouldn't be, unless
it
they're
wasn't
running
Matt
2 weight
Hamill.
classes.
Yeah,
Who knows?
I
There's too many of
remember
those
fucking-
shows these
I
days.
can't remember who he fought. It's gonna bother me now.
No.
Oh yeah, he was on the same. He was on the season with it was 2 weight classes, and that fucking one dude who freaked out was on it.
Not to let me bang, bro.
No, the white kid who's like just got wasted all the time.
Oh,
and
yeah,
tried
and he
to
got
start
kicked off the
fights.
show?
Yeah,
Yeah. I
He
know
was on that season.
Yeah.
that might have
Okay.
been like season 10 or 9.
That was like the Rampage coach season.
No, I think it was Mir and might have been Mir and fucking Nogueira or something like that.
Could be. Well, anyways,
I don't remember.
let's switch over to UFC now. We had last UFC event was UFC 5, which, it had a couple interesting
Vegas.
fights at the top.
Yeah.
UFC Vegas 5, excuse me. And then we do have an upcoming UFC event, though, that is pretty exciting, at least at the top as well. So the undercard had a really shining moment, though, that we both thought was pretty interesting. We had Dariush versus Scott Holtzman, Hot
Yeah.
Sauce,
Yep.
which I kept thinking Holtzman was going to
Well,
do
we-
something.
We talked about it before the fight. We were just thinking it was just such a bad matchup for Benito to take because he was coming off that huge win against Ricard Close, and I just felt like Scott was so game that no matter how that fight went, that Beneil win or lose was gonna come out looking bad,
Yeah.
and I was proved wrong. Everyone was proved wrong. A
Yeah,
lot of
he
people
wins
said
with a
this.
spinning back fist KO.
Yeah, and he pieced him
He
up
was
the
piecing him.
the whole time before he
It
did
wasn't
it
a
too.
competitive fight.
Yeah, it was a beatdown.
It was a beatdown. It was a real statement to the rest of the 155-pound division that Dariush is for real.
But
No.
here's the problem with that is what does that do for him? Because like when you look at lightweight, like let's say 10 and up, everyone is gridlocked all the way up because either like personal feelings, whether it be like pay or fights being offered or matchups that are already set
Mm-hmm.
or just fucking retired. Like Nate Diaz is retired, Connor's retired, fucking, you know what I mean? Like there's just a bunch of people on that list right now that are saying I'm only accepting title fights. I'm only fighting 2 people, and it's this guy or this guy or this guy or Connor, and it's like
Yeah.
that's why it's really interesting to me if someone like
Michael Chandler.
Michael Chandler were to enter the equation, because I just feel like lightweight is just like everyone's like saying they're a fight away from the title, or
the
they're
title ain't
injured
moving
or some shit
fast.
like that. You know,
Yeah.
like who? The only person I could really see Dariush fighting next is Diego. What's his name? Fuck, the dude who just beat Anthony Pettis.
Diego Fiera.
Fiera, yeah. I feel like I think he's ranked 10th or 11th. I feel like that's
In that zone, yeah.
he's like the only one I can think of that's not either has a fight right now or has some other reason why he's not fighting. Because you got like Kevin Lee, who's going to be out a whole nother year.
Yeah, tore his
now.
other ACL.
Tore his other
Terrible
ACL,
news.
and he's I think ninth or
Mm-hmm.
eighth. And then you got Felder, who's retired or not. Who knows?
He said he's only coming back for a big name. He's not going to come back for
Yeah.
Dariush.
Yeah,
It'd be a great fight, but he's not
Would
going to
be.
do it.
He's not going to do that. And then you got, and then you got the rest of the guys like Hooker, who just fought, Poirier just fought, freaking Tony just fought, Gaethje's fighting Khabib, Connor's retired. Like
You
it's
got-
just so many people are just. It's just
You
it's a
have
great
a
win.
lot of people in
but
that
it's
group
just so
waiting
weird.
on the results
Where does it put him?
of
You know?
Khabib Gaethje
Yeah.
as
100%.
well. So nothing's really going to move until that happens.
Uh-uh.
And then who knows? If Gaethje wins, he will probably defend quickly. If Khabib wins, he might take another extended break. I mean, let's
Dude,
be-
if Khabib wins, he might relinquish the lightweight title and move up to 170 pounds, fight GSP, and peace out.
he may. Especially now. I mean, with the family tragedy that he's gone through.
Yeah.
Who knows? But
City's got 2 more.
one thing he's unlikely to do is turn around and defend the title again in 3 months.
Uh-uh.
Like that's
No. He
either
said he's
way.
got 2 more, so it's this one and 1 more. And the Gaethje fight's already official, you know, so. Barring some kind of fucking ridiculous thing that always happens with Khabib fights, he's fighting Gaethje in October.
knocking on that wood, sir.
Yeah.
All right.
For
So
sure.
we had UFC Vegas 5.
Yeah. You had Chris Weidman come back, fight Omar Yakhmadov. Kind of a tough fight there.
Akhmadov's
gets
a
out of
tough
there.
customer.
Oh, yeah. He's tough.
You know, he's
won
under the
his last
radar
5,
for your
yeah.
casual fans, but
Before this, obviously.
yeah. Weidman gets a win, wrestling heavy.
But not dominant, though. It
Dude,
was,
he was getting pieced up
he
in
was
the
getting
first round. I
pieced
was like,
up.
oh, dude, this is terrible looking. He
Yeah.
was taking him right hands
But
straight
late-
to the jaw.
the third round, though, was all Chris Weidman.
Yeah, for sure.
I think Omari knew that he was
He
not
put it
going to be
away.
able to defend the takedown all night, so I think he just tried to rip his head off.
Well, Chris needed that really bad.
Oh, yeah.
But I don't think, and no disrespect, I'm a fan, but his statement of how he's putting the division on notice again, no one's shaking in their boots, bro.
No, I'm sorry. Yeah,
So,
that didn't look good.
no.
It did
And
not.
he's- Now you're 2-6. I'm
Yeah.
just being real. I'm a fan.
2-5.
2-5.
Yeah.
He was 1-5. Oh, yeah, now he's 2-5. and
He
his
was
last 7.
undefeated before he started losing.
Right.
That's what people don't realize is like Chris Weidman was an undefeated champion and then has lost 5 of his last 7 fights.
Yeah. So
Like,
I'm really happy he got the win, but you cannot be jumping back into the top 5 with
he was
your next
unranked.
fight, bro. No, I mean with his next competition. Like, don't,
Yeah, oh yeah.
don't.
No.
You're not there yet, sir.
Well, funny you ask, because I
Hmm.
got a little idea for that next fight of Chris Weidman's.
What you thinking, sir?
There's also another unranked middleweight who possibly could be looking for a fight. I don't know if he's unranked though because he just got taken out because he was a light heavyweight. So I guess he's unranked. He could take Luke Rockhold, who just announced this morning that he's coming out of retirement and wants to fight Chris Weidman.
Oh, Luke Rockhold smells blood. Thinks that's the easy comeback win.
Think so?
That's what he might think. I don't know.
Coming off a broken jaw and 2 shoulder
And an
surgeries.
embarrassment. I mean, he talked a lot of shit before that broken jaw.
Oh yeah.
Mad shit, and then
And
went out and
this
got
was supposed to-
slept like a.
This was a rematch that
Ooh.
got canceled too.
That shit was terrible looking, man.
Yeah.
Like,
Same thing. They both were victims of Yoel
it's
too.
the worst way to go out when you talk so much fucking shit about your opponent and then just get out and get just embarrassingly slept right away.
Dude,
Like, bro.
I'm sorry,
I
but
don't
you
know.
know what is the worst loss
Damn,
of
this weed
between
is
the
so
two of them
sticky,
though?
bro. Like, just pulling it off that bud, my fingers are all sticky.
We were talking about Chris Weidman. There's only one loss that always just sticks out to me. And it was how Yoel just completely dominated him at every facet of the game and then just viciously knocked him out.
Yeah, it was terrible.
Because remember, like, Chris Weidman tried to go Mr. All-American and wrestle fucking Yoel Romero. And Yoel was tripping him and just dropping him and hitting him with just, like, all this just, like, shit that just made him look like he was... There's levels to this shit. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
and
Chris is
like,
a great wrestler.
and then he got his
But he's
skull
not.
cracked by that fucking knee. Like,
fucking
I just don't
fell.
know if Chris Weidman's the same guy anymore. Like, some of the losses he took, like, were just so devastating.
Dude, you and I were discussing it the other day that the effect of concussions is still not taken seriously in a sport of
Oh,
MMA.
no, not really.
I mean, he can't be the same fighter. He's been KO'd so many times. I don't care. He's not the same guy. There's an effect there of some sort, even if it's minuscule right now.
Here's the thing,
you
though.
can't
Think
take
about it this
blows
way.
like that.
Let's just go down the line then. All right, so he gets
And be the
KO'd by Rockhold.
Yeah.
Viciously, bloody. Honestly, should have been stopped before. Like, he was getting bludgeoned, like, on the ground.
Yeah.
Like, and then you cut to his next fight. He gets, was it Musasi?
It was Musasi, I do believe.
Musasi, who
Musasi beat the shit out of him.
beat the shit out of him, TKOs him, and then he wins one with Gaslam, but he still got
Yeah,
fucking
and he got
rocked.
by Kelvin.
Fucking rocked.
We thought it was that. It was like, oh man, here it is. But
He
somehow
was
survives.
lucky Herb didn't stop the fight.
Yeah.
He got fucking rocked.
And then he winds up
Wins-
out wrestling
Yeah.
Gaslam, who's way bigger than. I mean, Gaslam's like an inch smaller than me, and Weidman's way bigger than I am. Fucking
And then you cut to Yoel, fucking
the knee from hell just
knee from
KOs him.
KOs him. I think
Like-
Yoel was after the title, actually, though. I think it went Yoel,
We might have
Musasi.
the order wrong.
But
'cause
yeah,
we weren't
but
planning
these
on
were
this
the fights.
conversation, but this is all
And then
from
you look at
marijuana
after
memory.
that. And then he goes in, gets knocked out by Jacare.
Yeah.
Then you ask yourself, like, man, this is rough, man. Chris Weidman's been knocked out a lot
Yeah,
lately.
you can be like, no, that's the exact same fighter that
Yeah.
terrorized the middleweight division
And
on
then
his way up to beating Yoel, or
you know,
the greatest.
after that, he decides, he's like, hey, man, I feel like maybe a move up in weight class will change. He basically was trying to say his motivation wasn't there anymore. That,
Yeah.
like, he had fought so many guys in middleweight and everybody that he just felt like it was dull.
Let's go up to 205.
Moves up to 205. And then, let's just take the hardest fight at light heavyweight and fight Dominic Reyes, who hits the hardest and just gets fucking slept again. So then you ask yourself, how many more of these knockouts can this guy take? That's just, like, he looked solid, but I'm not going to say he looked good on Saturday. He looked adequate.
I mean, that was a fight he's supposed to win. It was the type
Yeah.
of fight he should have been taking
He should have
a
dominated.
while ago.
I don't understand how the judge gave him a 10-8 in the third. That just doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah, I didn't understand that.
But it is what it is. He looked all right. I'm not gonna say he looked great. It was tough.
He needs another. He needs another building fight, another rebound fight here. No killers in the top 5.
But
I
does
don't
he
even
have
know
time to do that shit? We're talking about Chris Weidman, who's 36.
Yeah, man, they're looking for They're looking for fights right now. He came out uninjured. He could turn around and fight again in 6 weeks. The way the schedule's working.
No, I get what you're saying. He could do that.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is, at this age, can he do this?
You think so? He sure ain't gonna go win the title again in his next fight.
What's left for him to do, though? Like, he won the title.
know.
He was an undefeated champion.
Maybe he just
He
don't want to go
defended
out
the
getting
title,
knocked
like-
out like that shit.
He needs to, he needs to be careful.
Very.
He needs to be careful.
I like Chris
That's all I'm
Weidman,
saying.
man. He's a great guy, a good fighter. I hate seeing people take all that punishment and then act like it ain't nothing. That's serious shit, man.
Let's lighten the mood a little bit. Let's talk
Yes,
about
sir.
the funniest guy on earth, Derek Lewis,
Derek Lewis with
hitting the fly and
big
shit.
win. Man.
Derek Lewis scared me on Saturday, bro.
He's going to the ground in that first round with this. He called him Alexis Olenek,
Alexis Olenek, yeah.
which is a dangerous thing to do with a man who's got 49 submissions and 49 first-round victories and 70-something fights
56 wins.
with 56 wins.
Jesus.
Yeah.
And only like 11 losses.
Yeah, like
Jesus
the dude is an
Christ.
amazing, amazing.
Champion all over the place, yeah.
He's no joke. And
Dude.
Derek's going to the mat with him, which,
It was hilarious. to
wow.
me. He's got wins over Mark Hunt, people like that, like freaking. I think he beat Werdum, but
Me
other
too.
people say-
But whatever.
Oh, he did beat Purdue. Oh wait, no, that was yeah, didn't he beat Purdue?
Yeah, I think he did. I don't remember.
Yeah, either way.
But the fight with Derek Lewis. is
Dude,
that-
he almost choked him out too. Derek was talking about after the fight how
Yeah, he had
that
that
head and arm.
bulldog choke on
Yeah.
him, or head and arm, squeezing the shit out of him.
that shit happens too. Like, I wrestled my whole life. I've seen people get slept by a head and arm.
He said he was making noises that he was
Yeah.
worried people would be able to hear it. On
Yeah,
TV.
he did. He's like, oh!
I didn't notice.
He's got that thick ass neck, dude. He's like fucking used it against him.
Yeah. Well, he decided in the second round that wasn't going to happen again.
Yeah, came out.
Came out.
Well, here's the thing. He came out blasting in the first and then took him down. That was crazy. Like, he was landing big shots in the first, like, minute. And then was like, all of a sudden, like, let's take this to the ground. And took him down and slammed him. It was like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
But second round came out.
Yeah, the second round he comes out with what I thought was a really smart sequence. Now, I don't know if this was planned to be set up this way, if it happened to go this way and Derek took advantage of it. But he comes out with a flying knee, which lands in the chest. But it also pushes Olenek over to Derek's right and sets up that monster right hand just perfectly off of the knee. Like, I don't know if they planned it to be that way or if you just saw it in the moment, but it was set up perfect. Like, it just shifted him right over to Olenek's left and then takes that massive right hand and then ground and pound, and that's it.
Done, son.
Done, son.
One thing I do want to
Terribly.
highlight as well. Did you see what
Terribly vicious.
Oleg was doing in between rounds?
What was he doing?
So he was all I guess he does this all the time. But instead of standing or sitting on the stool, he laid on his back and put his feet on the cage so the blood would circulate better.
That's interesting.
I guess he does it every fight. I've never noticed it.
I never noticed that, but okay. Whatever
I
makes
was
you
like,
feel better.
I guess, yeah. But you had to think he was a little
Weird.
gassed after trying to fucking squeeze the life out of Derek Lewis. Like, I want to say he was in the head and arm for at least like 3 minutes, man.
I was pretty certain.
I thought it was over.
It's tough to go to the mat with that guy and not get,
yeah.
not get submitted. Let's just be real. And
He had
that's
so
not the area that Lewis is known for excelling in.
Here's the thing
so
with
to
Derek
say.
Lewis. He isn't, but he kind of is.
Well,
Like,
he
if you
showed he
watch a
could.
lot of his fights, he does these, like, crazy power out, like,
He does burst up.
yeah, like, out of submissions and shit.
He's really strong.
Yeah, ridiculously strong.
I mean, not only is he a big, strong-looking man, but like he clearly has a natural strength. Like
Yeah,
a
he's got a
serious
big-ass
power,
barrel
dude.
chest, too.
Yeah,
So like
I mean,
you know,
he used to cut. They said 20 pounds to get down to 264, 265.
That's what Olynyk said was the reason why he couldn't submit him, because his chest was so big that like he had like space. You know what I mean? Like he was like, you know what I mean?
Dude, the Black Beast.
He's a savage.
Savage. He's calling out some Curtis Blades.
I saw that. I don't know if he wants that. I think Derek should fight Francis Ngannou next.
Yeah, he
That
should
makes
make
the
up
most
for
sense.
that. That does make
One
some
thing
more
I do
sense.
want to talk about though is Derek said he's not fighting again until he loses another 15 pounds.
Yeah, I'm pretty interested in that. He's talking about being more agile,
Yeah.
being quicker.
Mm-hmm.
And he
Makes
says he
sense
still
because
has
if
that
you look at a
power.
guy like a Curtis Blades, Derek Lewis might have to wrestle him like for a good amount of time. And Curtis Blades is hard to finish.
Yeah.
Nobody finishes him. The only one to do it is Ngannou. And one of them was because of a doctor. You know, so I'd be very curious to see what Derek looks like at around, like, he was saying like 225, 235.
Right.
I'd be curious to see what he looks like there.
I think that's probably the fight they're going to make. That well, they're going to make maybe the Ngannou fight, but he's really hoping to get the winner of next week's fight.
Next week's fight could end in a double retirement.
Which we might as well segue into UFC 252 right now, because that about rounds out the latest UFC in Vegas 5 card. I mean, there was other things.
One thing I want to highlight real quick.
What's
Derek
that?
Lewis did become the king of KOs at heavyweight.
Oh, yes. Most
well.
heavyweight knockouts in
Ever.
history. And
he's one knockout away from the most
one
UFC knockouts ever.
And that's Vitor Belfort has that.
Yeah, which is crazy to me.
It's because he's been around for so long. Vitor has them ones from back in the day when he was the Roid Monster heavyweight, you know.
For real. But yeah, that's
20 years in the UFC. And
Derek Lewis is like low-key a really seasoned vet in the UFC, and
He
people
is.
don't realize it. He has he's got to at least almost have 20 fights in the UFC at this point.
he downplays himself. And
He
he's
does
funny,
so much, dude.
You know.
He does. But all right, let's segue into UFC 252.
UFC 252, which
We
is
got
the
the
heavyweight
heavyweight title.
championship. Rubber match between Daniel Cormier and Stipe
In a
Miocic
27-foot octagon.
in the small cage, which Miocic specifically asked the UFC for the large cage, and they denied him, which I find shitty. I don't think that is a bad request from your reigning UFC heavyweight champion. Like, really? I really don't understand.
Yeah. It's an asshole decision on them.
I mean, in my personal conspiracy theory stoner opinion is that
They'd rather have DC win.
yeah, Dana hates Stipe, wants to give DC every advantage possible, and was really hopes that Stipe loses.
Yeah, we'll see.
I really hope Stipe wins, but I'm pretty nervous about the whole thing. Like,
I'm sorry, but DC looks good. I've been watching some of his training videos, and like he brought Mark Henry in, he looks sharp. And I don't know what Stipe's doing because he's keeping it like under wraps, it seems.
yeah,
But DC's been pretty vocal about the use of Mark Henry and Corey Anderson in his camp. Expect
they're coming out
heavy
of different
wrestling.
experiences too.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know who knows.
He's going to be in his corner too.
I really want Stipe to win, but I'm thinking he's going to have a really
the cards
tough
are
time
stacked
doing
against
that.
him at
The
this
cards
point.
are super stacked against him. Like, and I think that's bullshit.
It is.
But I hope he pulls it off.
It is what it is.
But I'm not going to be shocked if DC goes in and wrestles his way to victory in the tiny cage, and we see just a pure wrestling event. I'm not going to be shocked by that. I'll be disappointed,
Dude,
and then hopefully DC retires, and that saves the night. In my opinion, is not being a fan.
we were
just
talking about it.
Bounce out of here.
I think Stipe should just mind fuck DC and walk to the octagon in a pair of wrestling shoes.
That'd be awesome.
Totally mind
I
fuck.
hope Stipe goes out and KOs him, man. Please, I will be yelling and screaming for that to happen, and I will be so excited if it does.
That's
but
the
I'm
problem.
not going to be
Just
shocked if DC goes and wrestles.
Just like we were
his way.
talking about with Weidman earlier,
That's
like Stipe is a decorated college wrestler, but DC is just like, fuck. There's just levels to this shit, bro.
Yeah,
like
DC's
DC's just
elite.
on the
You
next
can't deny
level.
his.
Yeah,
Just because I don't like him, I don't deny his skill level.
yeah. as far as grappling at least. Like I think Stipe is on another planet as far as like striking than DC is. But I think DC is so much more dominant as a wrestler and a lot more adequate at striking than DC is, or that Stipe is at wrestling to DC.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
I feel it, man. I know.
I don't know.
I don't think Stipe gets the recognition he should deserve. I've never understood Dana's reluctance to embrace this guy, especially during this time. Of all times, when your heavyweight champion is out being a literal fucking hero, not just sitting around the firehouse, but doing shit in the middle of this crazy fucking virus pandemic.
It's because Dana doesn't believe it.
Dana just don't like him.
Here's the thing.
Whatever.
There's going to be a serious conversation after this that we're all going to have. If Daniel Cormier wins, does it mean that being like a kind of undersized chubby guy make you the greatest of all time? Because if you look at Fedor and DC would be the Pride GOAT and the UFC GOAT, and they're kind of two little like average size heavyweights who carry a lot of power.
Wait. Okay, you're specifically talking heavyweight.
Heavyweight.
Okay, because you're gonna say you can't just
no, not all cross
not
fighting.
look
That's
like he
ridiculous.
didn't get his
That's
ass kicked
ridiculous,
twice by John Jones. I mean,
No. I'm saying heavyweights.
okay.
Heavyweights. If you look at if DC wins, he's pretty much the heavyweight GOAT at in the UFC because like.
Well, yeah, because right now it's arguably Stipe because he's had the most.
And then look at
defenses
Kane's
of
that same
anybody.
body style too, like that, like 225. You know what I'm saying? 235.
Look like you don't even really work out.
Like
Yeah.
Fedor, Kane, DC.
Well, Stipe is kind of that body type too. He's just a bigger
He's just
man.
big, yeah. He's just
much
kind of like an
bigger.
ogre.
Yeah.
DC or fucking Stipe is an ogre.
Stipe was a baseball player too. Like from what I understand, he could have been a very good baseball player had he chosen to go that route. But I think he played some AAA shit.
Oh really?
Yeah, because I remember when he was first coming around, they said that he was the breed that would beat Kane. Because that was when Kane was still the champ. Because he was this crossbreed athlete, like this baseball player / fucking.
He was a wrestler too.
Wrestler / fucking MMA, like boxer, because he has a Golden Gloves title too, I believe.
Yeah.
So like he was the breed that
It's a
was gonna come
multi-sport
in
athlete,
and supposedly could beat Kane because he's this multi-sport athlete. But somewhere along the line, his baseball story just kind of quit being told. I don't know why. Like
Probably
I remember it distinctly from the beginning, but whatever. You know, the UFC don't like him, so they don't.
They don't run with this shit.
I mean, if anybody out there listening thinks I'm lying because there's no facts, show me proof they like him in some way.
Yeah.
Show me some evidence out there of them saying any good thing about Stipe Miocic ever, promoting him as their champ. Nothing. We've talked about it before, dude. The beer fucking commercials are the best thing ever.
Modelo does a better job.
Modelo's on it. Anyways, great fight though. It's going to be a great fight. Wish the guy was in a big cage. We do have pretty good co-main event there as well, right?
I don't agree.
No. Well, it's exciting at least.
It's exciting.
If you're a fan of Sean O'Malley's,
yeah, it's
think-
no. I'm a fan of Sean O'Malley's.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
I know what you're going to say, and I actually agree. But
This is a pay-per-view.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but two guys, one that's unranked and one who's 15th in division. Sean O'Malley's got a great following, but he needs to be like second or third on the pay-per-view. You can't have him as a co-main event on an $85 pay-per-view.
No,
That's
you're right.
fucking nuts.
You're right. And we're both speaking as big fans of Sean O'Malley's here.
I'm a huge fan of Sean O'Malley's. I
You're
think
right.
he
He-
could
he-
have. I think he's better suited on fight nights where he's the main event than on a co-main of a pay-per-view that's $85.
Yeah, that is a problem. Because he's the shit, but he ain't $85 pay-per-view the shit yet.
Yeah,
Let's just be honest, man. You're right.
but yeah, I like the
It's
fight.
not his fault.
I like the fight. I just don't like where it's
Yeah,
at.
and that's
on the
not
pay-per-view.
nothing to do with
I
him.
don't like the matchmaking.
He doesn't do his placement. That's the UFC.
Yeah, that's the
that's-
UFC, not them. Yeah, exactly.
So,
Exactly.
and for him, it's a great opportunity. It is.
Absolutely.
So, the fight is great, though.
The fight's good. Yeah, I like Chito Vera. I'm a real big fan of as well.
I don't understand how Vera's not ranked.
I don't either. I don't
That's a
understand
crazy
why a
thing.
lot of
He
people
should
that
be a
are
ranked
on
fighter.
there are ranked too.
This is no gimme fight for Sean O'Malley. So
This is a real fight.
yeah, Cheeto's tough as they come in
Cheeto's
this
tough as
division.
fuck. Yeah.
So we'll see what's up. I mean, I like him to win, but I don't think he's going to go out there and put him away in the first round.
No way.
Like,
He's game as fuck, bro.
I mean, I was shocked at his last fight, though. I don't think he'd do that to Eddie Wineland either.
Yeah,
but
true.
Chito Vera, I think, beats Eddie Wineland. So
yeah, it is.
I mean, your MMA math, whatever bullshit that is.
But here's the thing: is like, I don't understand why both these guys aren't ranked. Because Chito Vera had won 4 in a row before he lost to Song Yadong in a fucking split decision that Dana White said he won.
Yeah.
Like, come on, man. A lot of people thought he won it. He had what? He was 6 of 8 on takedowns, and Song had like 10 more strikes than him. It's like, what? Where's the judging there? Like, come on, bro. It's terrible. So I consider him. He should. I think this should be like a like number 10 versus number 12 matchup, but we got a number 15 versus an unranked. This is why the rankings suck.
The rankings, as we've said many a time, are a joke in the UFC.
100%. Because you can't tell me that John Dobson's closer to a title shot than Marlon Vera. That makes no sense. No fucking sense. That's the point of the ranking system, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck are we talking about here? Like, it's nuts. But
I don't think that's ever going to get fixed either. The UFC shit.
It's like a broken system. These two guys should be on their own. This should be the main event of next week's or whatever next week or the week after that.
Yeah, I agree.
Card, and they should have all the eyes on them. Instead, they're getting put on a pay-per-view, which people who are casual fans are not going to buy because they're going to look at the three fights underneath the main event and say, who are those guys?
Yeah, well, we got JDS versus Rosenstruck in the 3rd spot.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good heavyweight fight, but I'm talking a person like me and you is going to buy this card no matter what. But what I'm saying is the UFC is fucking up.
Yeah, they're not selling that to the casual fan with that top 3 lineup.
They're not, no.
Especially when they spent zero time promoting their heavyweight
two guys' possible retirement fights. Like, come on, bro. This should be a much bigger card.
Dude, the UFC is so shitty at their marketing. I bet the casual fan looks at that and goes, who the hell is Stipe Miocic? When they see the name, they're like, they don't even know how to say it. They're like, who the as Connor would say, who the fuck is that guy?
Yeah, for real. It's unfortunate as fuck because this card should be stacked.
Yeah, it's not, though. It's weird. There's a couple other good fights. So we got Jim Miller making yet another appearance against a UFC Tough alumni, Vince from Hell Pichel.
Yeah.
Who is he's a pretty solid fighter. He's a little under the radar, unless you're a Tough fan. He's been out for a while, but he's tough. He's tough.
He's tough.
He's a tough.
He's a tough competitor.
He's a tough competitor from Tough. No, I mean, I'm saying he has what it takes to beat Jim Miller.
Yeah.
But Jim Miller's been on a quiet win streak, right?
Good lately, man. Yeah. I don't know. I don't think anyone's equipped to beat Jim Miller. He's gonna beat Khabib. I'm saying.
What is he on a 4-fight streak though?
I think 5.
5.
Yeah.
I mean, not against top tier competition, mind you.
Hey, 5 fights in the UFC is 5 fights in the UFC.
Still in the
man.
UFC.
Yeah.
You're fighting tough outs all the time for the most part.
Leon Edwards has won 10 in a row. No one knows who they are.
Right. You're dead on.
He fought Cowboy or something like that, I think. But Jim Miller, he's one of those guys who's just he's a lifer, like he's fucking should have been gone 4 years ago, but he's just like kept hanging in there and winning fights and honestly like progressing his jiu-jitsu game. He's so much more patient and like able to transition and get his submissions later in his career, which is just crazy. It's crazy.
He's outlasted his brother now, which is crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I hope he wins. I
Jim I hope Miller. He wins as well.
Got to root for Jim Miller. There's another fight here. What was that?
Oh yeah, the rematch. Remember back at it's Magomed Arkalov versus Ion Kutalaba. Remember when they they got a pre-fight fight?
They did, yes. Was that at the UFC Brazil?
Yeah. It was supposed to be UFC Brazil, but it was the first comeback for the pay-per-view in the COVID. It was in Florida.
Yeah, that's right. And then they got in their big scuffle.
Mm-hmm. They got a scuffle before the fight, and then during the fight, Kutalaba was doing this weird shit where he was like taunting him kind of to like pretend like he was like hurt. And then he got hit with like a big left that actually hurt him, and the ref just stepped in right away and was like, "Oh, you've been like thinking he was hurt the whole time."
He was doing the rope a dope, but not against the ropes, like in the middle of the octagon.
Throwing back and shit, and his legs weren't gone, or he didn't
doing the
fall.
fake wobble, and then he got wobbled, and the ref thought it was all way too much wobble.
Yeah.
And then he protests right away, like, no, I was faking.
And then Dana got all mad about it, and now they're running it back.
That's a tough call there.
Tough call.
I mean,
that whole weekend though, remember, like that whole weekend was terrible with the referee.
I feel like we say this every episode. That was terrible refereeing.
It was.
We said that like for the past year. That was terrible refereeing.
Yeah. I think since Big John's left the sport, dude, there's been some bad fucking reffing, dude.
It's funny. He runs some sort of school training referees, too.
He does, but I think his leadership as a guy who's going to call people out during the show isn't there, because now the guy who's at the top right now, what I think would be Herb Dean, is the one who's starting to fuck shit up. So it's like when you don't have that leadership or that guy to call everybody out when they're fucking up, I feel like the whole rest of the troop
everybody
fails.
suffers a little bit. And that school, I don't know if that's for top tier refs. It might be for people just looking to become refs and have to go do their local fucking amateur MMA shows for free.
But you get what I'm saying though? Like I feel like John McCarthy's the kind of referee that when he was at handling an event like that, he would be able to like.
He was a voice for refs.
Exactly.
As well. Not only was he like the Godfather type, he was a voice.
Yeah.
And there hasn't been a voice since he left. I mean, Herb Dean, like he come out and he'll put. Like, he posted that response to Dan Hardy, but he's like, yeah, that's it, I'm done.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, because I feel like
and that was an
as a referee
situation.
I feel like as a referee, or like even in football, basketball, baseball, all that shit, you don't want to make it seem like it's about you.
This is true.
You know
and
what
I respect that.
And exactly. I do respect that.
Because it's not about that.
It's not, no.
Well. They're getting a shot to run it back.
Yeah, run that shit.
If you want to call that a referee mistake or just a poor choice of tactic by...
I think a little bit of both.
I think it was a little bit of both. It's hard to blame a referee. How was he supposed to know he's faking? Maybe.
He was completely there, though, man.
Yeah, it was pretty obvious on TV, but maybe our angles are different. I don't know. I like to give him the benefit of the doubt.
I feel it. But, so I'm glad they're running it back. Yeah. The UFC knew that they had to. It's just fucked up. Because now that dude gets half his money, all that shit. It's just bad.
We're really ever going to see the end to that. Managers, why do you keep doing these contracts?
Well, something like we were talking about earlier, we were talking a little bit about how like college football players are unionizing during this pandemic. This was a perfect chance. This was a perfect chance for the UFC, MMA fighters to unionize, but nope. The Dana's all we've heard is Dana's so great. Thank you so much for putting on fights.
I know. Fighters I respect for their accomplishments coming out and just saying ridiculous stuff in favor of the UFC.
Well, and it's not even that. I think it has a lot to do with, it's like, okay, I have no earning opportunities without the UFC being open. So why am I going to now? You know what I mean? It's just selfishness is really what it comes down to. If I'm a guy who's like making millions and I haven't fought in a year because of an injury or something like that, I'm sorry, but I don't give a fuck about Joe Blow. I'm fucking going to get my fucking $3 million so I don't have to fight for another year.
Is the nature of the fight game, unfortunately.
Yep.
Unfortunately. Well, that probably, I mean, there's a lot of other fights on 252, but frankly, there's not a lot that warrant conversation right now unless we see something amazing. What do you think?
Well, we also do have a couple of announced fights that
there was some very interesting announced fights, especially in the 125-pound men's division.
Yeah, so you got Cody Garbrandt is getting a shot at Davison Figueiredo,
whose last fight was at 135, of course, and him being the former 135-pound champ.
Win over Sun Sao.
Beats Sun Sao, and then gets a title shot against the very large for flyweight Figueiredo.
Mm-hmm.
So
I think they're pretty close in size, though.
Might be, yeah.
Because Joe is a small guy to begin with.
Benavidez?
Yeah.
Yes. And he was very small against the now champ.
Yeah.
That's an interesting fight, man. I don't know what to think about that as far as the winner. I don't know enough about Davison.
Davison and his manager put out a statement when this fight was announced, promising a knockout.
I feel like that could happen too.
Yeah.
He seems pretty strong, and Cody has
no
been
job.
knocked out.
I mean, no love.
Yeah.
That's what people call him. I'm not calling him. I'm just saying that's what people say.
And there's a reason why.
I mean, yeah, unfortunately.
There's a history we've discussed prior. I like Cody as a
I wonder
fighter.
what he looks like at 125 pounds, though. That's also
That's the
something
other
nobody's
thing,
taking into account.
Like, he's like 5'8".
Is he?
Yes.
Sure.
That's tough for him to reach.
I think he's about 5'6".
25 pounds. I'm guessing 5'8". You're guessing 5'6".
Yeah.
What are we betting here?
A new car.
A new car. All right.
I bet you I am right.
Man. Why is my voice assistant coming on? I'm pretty certain he's 5'8". Cody, Garb. Oh, look, the second thing that pops up is Cody Garbrandt height right after him. That's hilarious, dude. Oh, look, he's right in the middle, 5'7".
Which means he's really 5'6", because everyone lies on their Google shit.
Google pulls their information from credible sources, Paul, like the UFC.com website. Not an application filled out by fighters who lie about their height,
what's
sir.
Figueiredo then? He's probably around the same height.
Figueiredo's like 6'1".
He's about 6'1" to 245.
He's about 6'1". He weighs 125.
No, 200 pounds. He cuts to fucking 125.
That's the thing.
Dude, he's got to be cutting from like 160.
Yeah, he's a pretty big dude. Wow, he's only 5'5".
Really?
Is that how small Benavidez
Is that how small Benavidez is, bro?
Jeez,
Benavidez has to be like 5 foot then.
My God.
Look up how small Benavidez is.
Remember, I was talking last week that at points it looked like, and no disrespect, I like Joey, but it looked like a man versus a child in some angles on that fight, man.
Bro, look up how tall Joey Benavidez is now.
He's got to be lying about his height. Let's see. He's got his height down as 5'4". There's no way Davison is 1 inch taller than him, bro. I'm sorry. His whole frame was bigger. Everything about him was bigger.
Or Figueiredo is doing that to freak people out, make them think he's smaller than he is.
If they happen to be similar in height, their frames aren't similar.
No.
Not even close. Like.
This should be a good fight, though.
It's a good fight. I'm excited about it. I hope that we see a much better performance.
22nd.
I find it interesting. He's basically
Madison Square Garden.
Don't you find it somewhat interesting? He's basically copying T.J. Dillashaw, his nemesis.
Yeah.
I mean, he's literally doing the same
He wants to rematch
thing.
him again once he comes back.
He's like proving I can do what you couldn't do, bitch. Now I'm gonna fight you. You know that's what he's doing.
He's gonna. Well, here's the thing: who's gonna be waiting for him with the title? Because it's either gonna be Aljo. Because I guarantee you, dude, when T.J. Dillashaw comes back, they're giving him a title shot.
Yeah, I'm certain. Of course.
So the question becomes, who's their champion when he gets there?
You think if Cody beats Davison that he will
Try to champ
stay?
himself?
No
fucking way he's staying at 125. I don't know. He's small, though, so I don't know.
He might stay
I'd have
until
to see what he
Dillashaw
cuts
comes
to make
back and then
35.
tries to do the unifier.
Yeah.
You know?
I'd have to see what his walking around weight is. Because if he's walking around at like 145 and cuts to 35, then 25 won't be a problem. But he's walking around at like 160 maybe, then we're talking some problems.
It's a very intriguing fight, though, my friend. Very intriguing fight. And that's November 21st for the bantamweight.
Yeah, what
or
normally
the
would
flyweight
be Madison
belt.
Square Garden, but right now is it a TBD?
Yeah. And then there's the women's flyweight. It's a doubleheader of the flyweight division where we've got Valentina Shevchenko coming back for another title defense against the recently victorious Jennifer Maia, who just quickly submitted one of my favorite fighters, Joanne Calderwood. So, not a shock. We knew this was coming.
She's fucked.
And, yeah, unless there's some crazy misstep from Shevchenko, I'd have to say that this is
Shevchenko show.
This is going to be another probably epic performance from the champ here, which I'm all for. A lot of times I like a dominant champion that just goes out and murders everybody in their division. I don't mind it.
You know what he does? Gives you that, like, it gives the invisible, like, invincible feeling to her career. But as soon as someone does anything good against her, people are going to be like, whoa, she's going to lose. And then, you know what I mean? That's what it gives you in the fucking fight. Like, when you watch her, it's just like, you're just like, oh, dude, she's going to murder this chick. And then it's just like, someone hits her with, like, a big hook or something. You're like, what the fuck? No way, dude.
I mean, she'll likely get beat again at some point.
I don't see it.
I mean, just because that's the nature of the game, but
yeah, maybe.
I don't see it.
I don't think anytime soon.
Jennifer Maia is a good fighter, but I see nothing that would indicate she could hang with Shevchenko for any length of time, let alone
any length of time.
I mean, beat her.
Yeah, that ain't happening.
No, it's not happening.
Way.
So,
well,
rounds out a pretty decent slew of fights there.
Yeah, for sure.
And I guess we'll wrap it up with the somewhat saddening news if you're a boxing fan of the upcoming exhibition fight with Mike Tyson and Roy Jones has now been postponed from September 12th to a date late in November, perhaps the 28th, with no reason why given. Although if you think about it, Paul, it's not that shocking. We've got two guys in their 50s. It sounds like they want a crowd. And we've got two guys in their 50s. Is there any harm in giving them more time to prepare? I mean, let's be real.
Yeah, no.
And they probably want a crowd.
Yeah.
I can see why.
Yeah.
So, and if, maybe they might wind up even moving it because it's scheduled in California right now, right?
Yeah, but.
Because they could do a crowd elsewhere. Like BKFC just did a crowd.
Yeah, true.
So there's a possibility.
Where is that at, though? Like Missouri or some shit?
Doesn't come to me right now.
Yeah.
But Florida probably would allow it.
Yeah, true. Florida.
So that's kind of a bummer, but I'm not that upset because it's not a normal fight. It's not like we're holding up a title here.
Yeah, true. True.
So let's hope they just get in even better shape, and we'll get to talk about that as it gets closer.
Sounds good.
That's the show, folks.
Yup.
Thanks for tuning in. If you're new to the show, you can catch us Thursday nights, 6 p.m. on the West Coast, 9 p.m. on the East Coast, WBUZ 95, Orange Radio app, or radio.net. Catch the podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcast, Stitcher, everywhere else. Where's all that info at, Paul?
SWA.com, where you can head over there, click the gear button, grab yourself a t-shirt, and support the podcast.
Thanks, everybody. Keep smoking the good stuff.